Greetings and salutations, friends. Uh, we are experiencing some technical issues here, and I think it's related to a Windows update, which has been the bane of my existence lately. Uh, Somehow, when all else fails, just blame your software. But somehow in StreamYard, it won't let me change the microphone or the camera. So we're going to kick it old school tonight with one camera that's still working. Apparently, I don't know what's going on. I'll deal with this issue. The time to deal with these issues is not 5 minutes before showtime. And try as I valiantly did. Uh, yeah, this is the best that we're going to do tonight, but it's okay. It's all good. We've got an excellent presentation for you, a special report, if you will. And tonight we'll be shining a spotlight on UFO money. This is one of my favorite. I don't know why, call it a sick obsession, but, I've kind of closely followed some of these UFO characters and just how much money they are raking in. Uh, and I thought, for the benefit of those who are perhaps naive, I don't really want to use the term ignorant, but that would apply. Occasionally, not occasionally, very often, I get nasty messages, and from whoever, fans of different UFO celebrities, and they all say generally a very similar thing, which is there's no money to be made in this. Like that, these people aren't here for the money. I got to tell you that I very I very strongly beg to differ when somebody asserts that a person is not here in the world of UFOs for the money. Because we have seen ample examples of people that are making incredible amounts of money. Uh, just yesterday, for example, we highlighted David Wilcock's take for the last bunch of times that he begged for money from the UFO community. And it's quite stunning how much money is being generated. So when somebody messages me and they say, for example, "Oh, that person's not here for the money," I could show you this as one example, and this is just one character in conspiracy land. David Wilcock, most famous, if you want to call it famous, for being on the show Ancient Aliens, a show which is completely wrong about almost everything it portrays and should be an embarrassment to being on the History Channel. But hey, that's one of their biggest money makers. So they don't care if it's accurate. They don't care if it's all based on flawed speculation on the part of so-called experts. Like, what makes David Wilcock an expert in ancient civilizations? Nothing. He's got a degree in psychology, and he's a wackadoo who thinks he's got superpowers, right? This is who we're watching. But Ancient Aliens generates millions and millions and millions of dollars. And David Wilcock personally, he keeps coming to the UFO community and asking for money for various reasons. One was when Emery Smith was apparently under deep state attack, but it turned out that he was under attack by a bottle of vodka because what he was suffering from was actually alcohol poisoning. That's what hospitalized him, not the men in black. But David Wilcock and Emery Smith were able to collect $50,000 in PayPal donations. Then we get the Pete Peterson GoFundMe, where David Wilcock claimed that Pete Peterson was under deep state attack and they were, trespassing in his home and throwing all of his belongings out into dumpsters. And then they were going to ride over everything with bulldozers. None of that was real. None of that was reality. It was all lies, but they generated $60,000. Next, we get on to David Wilcock's charity, which generated at least $150,000. I have some more research to do to see if that charity is still active. I don't believe that he's continuing with that. He did not like the scrutiny that our show here specifically brought to his charity, because we showed the 990 forms and highlighted just how much money he was taking in and what he was doing with it. And largely, in my opinion, he was spending it on, things, not charitable things, in my opinion, buying thousands of dollars worth of software and supplies and, spending $4,000 on meals and entertainment for him and his wife for 1 year period. And then, of course, there was the stunning admission in recent court testimony in a deposition that for David Wilcock's last $333 course, not this new one where he's talking to angels who tell him to take baths in his own piss to get superpowers, but his previous one where he promised everybody that he was going to teach everybody the secrets of free energy and anti-gravity. And if you just buy my $333 course, you'll be able to do it too. Nobody's been able to show me anybody that's been able to generate free energy or anti-gravity from taking David Wilcock's course. But hey, don't let things like reality get in the way of a good grift that you can sell, because David Wilcock apparently, and let's be clear here, this course is based on a promise and a lie. You'll be able to do it too. And he generated $2 million from that. That's it's ridiculous how much money, $2.25 million. And again, this is just one character in conspiracy land who's able to generate this kind of money. So listen, and I'm going to say this as kindly as I can. Before you email me and tell me that people are not here for the money, look at this, educate yourself, and then suck a dick. Don't send me hate mail, you uninformed, ignorant asshole. Why are you sending me a message telling me people aren't here for the money? You dummy. Look at this guy. $2.25 million? He's not here for the money? He's really here searching for, a greater meaning in things like tetrahedrons and nonsense. He claims he's talking to angels and he's collecting millions of dollars. And you stupid people who send me nasty messages believe this clown who's been wrong. By the way, he's been wrong about everything. Wrong about 2000, wrong about 2012, wrong about us getting rainbow light bodies because of the Mayan prophecies. He was wrong about the mass arrests, wrong about the 3 days of darkness. He's been wrong about everything. And you're gonna trust this idiot to predict the future for you with the help of aliens? Angels. It's angels. He's got the help of angels who are telling him to take baths in his own piss in order to get superpowers, right? But he's not here for the money. That $2.25 million. And by the way, that's just in the past bunch of years. Now he's on to the new grift, which is, hey, I'm talking to the Archangel Michael. Really? Can you prove that? No. But any biblical scholar can prove that he's not talking to the Archangel Michael, because the information that the supposed Archangel Michael has already given him in his first book is completely and totally wrong, which means he's not communicating. Ask any biblical scholar. He's not communicating with angelic forces, because they wouldn't spread lies if they are of the one true God, as he claims. Come on. And again, I'm a very patient person. So people send me messages and I read them. But before you send me a nasty message, just stop for a moment and, educate yourself about the amount of money that's being generated by this nonsense. This man is a factory of nonsense. Everything he's ever talked about is nonsense. The secret space program, the face on Mars, it's all fake. It's all nonsense. So apparently, the more nonsensical your offerings are, the more money there is to be made. And it doesn't matter if he gets everything wrong about ancient history on that stupid television show. He's so proud of being on. I'm a big star. Like, you're on a show that's wrong about everything, you dummy. But hey, this is where we're at. And this is where we find ourselves. And recently, I have been alerted to even more financial shenanigans going on in the UFO community. And I am entertained by this, because me, like an idiot, decided at the start of this show, and even my previous show, that you could explore these strange and esoteric topics, but not lie to people, not push false narratives, not hoax things to make money, not push completely and totally fake information or very flawed information. I thought we could do this the right way. And you can, but then you're going to go broke. All right. And by the way, I'm not complaining. We have a lot of supporters all over the world. But then you see this and you go, what am I doing wrong? Oh, that's right. I'm not lying to people. I'm not pushing garbage, fake information. I'm not connecting dots. We saw last night covering this clown. He connected, what did he connect? Crop circles, 19.5 degrees latitude on all different planets, tetrahedrons, photons, the Wicker Man movie, and the Archangel Michael, who's giving him information. No, he's not. He's not getting information from angels. Why would an angel hang out with this dork? No, an angel would find a good, like a person that would an angel go, hey, that guy that collected $150,000 and spent most of it on himself, allegedly. Would let me go hang out with that guy and give him secret and sacred angelic information and prophecies, and then we're going to help him to sell it to stupid people for $333. And by the way, this is just one grift. It's griftorama around here. Everywhere you look, this guy's grifting, this guy's grifting, this guy's grifting. It's ridiculous. And why am I still here? Why? I'm amused. At this point, I'm amused, right? I am amused by the amount of money that people are generating with absolutely no evidence. And we saw the perfect example of that recently is this Dave Grush story. What are we up to? Yeah, let's check in. I'm sorry, I haven't been keeping up with Twitter. And by the way, I took all weekend off of Twitter last weekend. And I got to tell you, it's been one of the best weekends of my life. I am not going to waste time arguing with stupid people on Twitter. I really feel strongly about that. And if you're one of those stupid people, I hope you don't miss me too much, but I don't have time to educate everybody. You can watch the shows here, or you can even ask me, like, how can I learn more about X, Y, or Z? I'll send you a link, but don't come at me with your nonsense. And the defenders of the grift are the true believers. No, but he's really doing good work. Okay, so it's been 134 days since Dave Grush hit the scene and became a public person. But remember, on May 15th, we didn't report it on May 15th, but we reported that on May 15th, before he was ever a public service, ever a public name, before he was known, before he went public, he already had a documentary deal in place. Oh no, this isn't about money. If it wasn't about money, he wouldn't have cared to have a documentary deal already in place before he so-called blew the whistle. And what did he blow the whistle on? Nothing. He repeated stories people told him. He has no evidence, none. And we are now up to 134 days since Dave Grush went public with his original claims, allegations, whatever you want to call them. And we've gotten nothing, no evidence whatsoever. It's been 134 days and there's no evidence. And where's all the grifters that were pushing this story and talking about this is going to break the dam and this is going to change everything? And he's got 40 witnesses. Sure he does. And he's waiting all this time. You can't even drop one of the witnesses for us? It's been 134 days. This grift is getting old already. How long are they going to push the Grush grift? There's no evidence. And by the way, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars has been generated, I believe, by the Grush story so far. We've got News Nation cashing in, George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell cashing in. We've got Ross Coulthard cashing in. We've got all the little circle jerk podcasts interviewing all those idiots. They're cashing in, get their little piece of the nothing burger pie. It's a nothing. If there's no evidence, if he has no evidence of his claims, it's a goddamn nothing burger. It's a nothing burger that everybody's making tens of thousands of dollars. And we're going to get into this and all. Cash in. It's time to cash in, right? And by the way, I'm working on some UFO footage of my own. That's all I'm going to say, right? It's cash in time, right? Cash in your chips, right? And by the way, if I get caught hoaxing, everybody has to just forgive me, right? Because you forgive Linda Moulton Howe, you forgive Jaime Maussan, you forgive Ross Coulthart for selling 4 completely and totally fake stories. What if I just start making up some fake stories? What if I make up like one fake story a year, right? And cash in on that one fake story so that I can do it the right way the other 364 days a year? Would that be okay? Would that be acceptable? Everybody gets a pass for selling fake stories. That's another thing. You got to have blinders on and pretend that all these people aren't money grubbing, money hungry slime balls, because that's what they are, selling fake nonsense for cash. It's a great business if you can get in. But in order to get in, you got to keep your mouth shut about all of this shit that I'm going to be telling you the truth about. You know why? Because I don't care. I don't care. I'm not going to lose nothing for telling you the truth. I lose nothing. I'm already getting, crap from everybody because I'm not playing the game. Oh, you can't talk smack on that person. If you've been caught selling 4 completely and totally fake stories for cash, like Ross Coulthart, he should be banished. You should be gone from this thing forever. You're selling fake nonsense. Get out of here. Why doesn't he go cover like Kim Kardashian or some other equally nonsensical thing to what he's doing? Like go start a Star Wars channel, Ross Coulthart, or I don't know, do something of value for the money that you're expecting to receive. So we're going to be getting into this, and of course, I lost my notes right as I need them. Because that makes sense. Oh, 1 second. Oh no, I got it. All right, I apologize. I'm a little out of sorts this evening because of the technical issues. I'm just glad everything works and we can get through tonight's broadcast. And we'll try to move forward. Oh, look, but see that? Some people do appreciate when people are telling the truth. Helping you to cash in, says Deb from SAC. And thanks for being a member as well. See, we can praise the cash too, but we're going to do it tonight the honest way by telling people the honest to God truth about the reality of UFOs. You know what the reality of UFOs are? It's a goddamn cash cow. And all these people get addicted to the fame and the money. Look, why work a real job, right? I used to Uber like a lot. Why do that for 14 hours a day to try to make a living and earn money for you and your family? You could just sell one fake UFO story a month and you'll be fine, apparently. But thank you, Deb from SAC, longtime show supporter, for your kindness, your generosity and support, and for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
We're going to get deep, deep, deep into the rabbit hole. If you're just joining us, friends, whether you're joining us on the Rumble chat, the Twitch chat, the Pilled chat, the Facebook live feed, the Twitter live feed, or the YouTube feed, we want to welcome all of you. And tonight we are shining a spotlight on UFO money. And I've got some great documents. Where do you see this shit? This is beautiful. And it perfectly, look, again, it's not that I don't, I'm not wrong about something, but when people, I'm getting upset, quite honestly, with people messaging me about the money situation. And people always send me messages of defense of the grift. Like, well, people have to feed their family, Stephen. Yeah. That's the same argument used by the criminals in the neighborhood that I grew up in. The guys that used to steal things a lot, including cars, maybe drop them off at a chop shop, go take an order. Somebody needs Audi rims, go steal those, right? And the same argument applies to those criminals. Well, they got to feed their family. I mean, if that's all they can do. But when you get into people that are selling the UFO lies, these are at times very well educated, affluent people. This isn't like, it's not like somebody grew up in the ghetto and the only shot they had at making any money is to like sell fake UFO stories. That's not what we get here. You know, we've got Jeremy Corbell. He's some rich people's kid. You know, he was a yoga instructor, an artist. He was, he made up his own jujitsu. I'm sure they paid for his college too, right? And he's, so these people, look at Ross Coulthart is educated journalist. Linda Moulton Howe, educated journalist. She went to college for this shit. She went to college, and now she sells fake pictures of aliens as real shit. Okay, that's where we're at. But I just want to make sure that we point out, I grew up in a rough area, and I kind of did forgive some of those, let's just say, shady people I knew in my neighborhood that were doing terrible things. Often it's easy to forgive them because they weren't doing it to me. This unwritten rule: don't steal from your neighbors. You go to the next neighborhood and steal from those people, right? When you need those Audi rims or, a car to take to the chop shop, and they'll give you $500 for it, no questions asked, right? These people have means and opportunity and educations. This is a conscious choice to do the wrong thing. This is not like, they didn't have any other option. And another great example is Third Phase of Moon. They got rich parents too, bored rich kids. Oh, we'll just sell fake UFO stories for literally decades, right? We'll just keep posting fake UFO videos and they've made hundreds of thousands of dollars on YouTube selling completely and totally fake UFOs and fake stories constantly. And there's no end in sight. They're just sharing this stupid fake Bigfoot, right? It was fake. 5 minutes of research, you can find out it's fake. That doesn't matter. Just put it out there. Get the money. Go on, take the money and run, right? So, those are my free-form thoughts on the people that I believe are striking it rich on UFOs. And I have some notes that I titled "Striking It Rich: The Extraterrestrial Gold Rush, Profiting from UFOs and Alien Stories." So tonight we're going to delve into the fascinating world of some of these individuals who have found fame and fortune by selling stories about UFOs and aliens. And as public interest in the extraterrestrial and paranormal grows, seemingly to no end, various income streams have emerged for those who declare themselves experts and begin sharing their so-called experiences, knowledge, or theories. And remember, one of the ways that the grift works is that all these people pretend that they're in on some kind of secrets, and for a price, whether even if that price is clicking on their video. We live in an attention-based economy, or for the price of a book, public speaking, buy my online course, whatever. They want you to buy their so-called secret knowledge. And I'm here to tell you, none of them have any secret knowledge. And I've been deeply, deeply following many of these people for decades. They don't have any secret knowledge. They have fake stories. That's what they have to fool stupid people. And they share their theories. There's endless speculation, but there's no value in any of this, though they act like there's value in giving them money somehow. And in tonight's study of and exercise of shining a light on the UFO money, we'll be exploring the range of revenue sources, including monetized YouTube views, guest appearances, speaking engagements, books, documentaries, television series, merchandise. I'm guilty of that one myself. Audio podcast income. I guess I'm guilty of that one too. Patreon or members income. Yeah, I'm guilty of that one. Super chats and PayPal pledges and courses or special online live events. And yes, just to be clear and in full disclosure, pardon the pun, we do some of those things. Certainly, we try to monetize our YouTube videos, but when you tell the truth, apparently your videos get demonetized. Or if you talk too much smack on the purveyors of disinformation, misinformation, false information, fake information, hucksters of hoaxes, they demonetize you. And this has been my experience. I'm speaking from personal experiences. I could be wrong with why our videos keep getting demonetized. I'm trying my best not to curse too much or especially drop F-bombs. I'm even trying to not smoke on camera because somebody told me that could be it. Who knows? But our videos get demonetized. But we try to monetize our videos. And yes, we have a member section in Patreon, and I sell t-shirts to try to support the show and keep the show going. So just putting that out there because I'm sure I'm going to get attacked. You sell t-shirts too, Stephen! You're making money! Yes, we're making money bringing people the truth behind these layers of deception by very, very deceptive people. It's the UFO Live, friends. So in the world of unidentified flying objects and extraterrestrial encounters, that world has long captured the imagination of the public. In recent years, this fascination has translated on the internet into numerous very lucrative income streams for individuals who have found success in sharing their stories, their so-called research, their insights, speculation, or theories about UFOs and aliens, and more. Tonight, we're going to shine a spotlight. Tonight, we're seeking to shed light on the various avenues through which these so-called experts, researchers, and experiencers have monetized their interests and expertise. And for a moment, I would just like to mention that I don't have any problem with people making money. But when it gets into these deceptive tactics and people literally selling completely and totally fake information as real, like fake pictures of aliens as real pictures of aliens, that's when I believe it rises to a level of criminality. And that's my opinion. I'm not a law enforcement officer. I'm not a lawyer. I just think that's a form of fraud. Especially if you do it knowingly. And I believe some people have knowingly. That's why they're called hoaxes. People know that the thing is fake, but they massage the data in order to sell a salacious, sensationalized story. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is monetized YouTube views, because I think, I knew this being a YouTuber myself, that, there's money to be made here. But some people that are casual viewers of YouTube, or, they don't have a monetized YouTube channel, they don't realize the amount of money being generated on monetized YouTube views. YouTube, after all, especially in the past couple of years, has become a powerful platform for UFO and alien enthusiasts to share their content and generate income. Carrie Cassidy was one of the early YouTubers. She used to go around with a crappy VHS recorder and interview everybody at UFO conferences and upload it. She gained a huge following from that, and a huge income. Creators can often build substantial followings by producing videos on topics ranging from alleged sightings to in-depth analysis of government documents. Revenue primarily comes from YouTube ads, channel memberships, and product placements, as well as ad reads. Successful creators with engaging content can amass millions of subscribers, resulting in substantial financial rewards. And then there are guest appearances. Some of you are not aware of this, but did you know, I've been made aware of this, that some of these UFO circle jerk channels, they give the guest a cut? Did you know that? Sometimes they'll say, hey, whatever the ad makes, I'll split it with you 50-50. Then they can get a big name UFO celebrity to come to their channel, generate lots of views, and they just give them the softball circle jerk treatment. If you're not familiar with my show, that means they don't ask any hard questions. They don't call them on their bullshit. They do not get into all the times they've been caught selling fake stories before. And it's all like this careful, deceptive ballet of bullshittery. That's what I call it. But sometimes these UFO celebrities get money for guest appearances. And those could be guest appearances on radio shows, on podcasts, television programs. Also provide a significant source of income for UFO and alien so-called experts. By the way, being a UFO or an alien expert is exactly the same as being, for example, a unicorn expert or a mermaid expert or a fairy expert. There's no proof that any of these things exist. Well, UFOs exist because, of course, there's always going to be something in the sky that is unidentified. But when we get into aliens, especially, there's no definitive proof that aliens exist or have visited planet Earth. But don't let that get in the way of a good money making opportunity, right? Being a UFO expert, by the way, you just declare yourself one, is exactly the same as being a unicorn expert or a fairy expert or, I don't know, a minotaur expert, whatever thing from mythology that you, an angel expert, a demon expert. Well, that gets into religion, but still, by sharing their so-called knowledge, their so-called experiences, their speculation, and there's a lot of speculation in the UFO world and their theories about what's really going on, they can earn appearance fees and enhance their credibility within the field. Regular appearances can lead to greater recognition and greater financial opportunities. And then, of course, there's speaking engagements. Public speaking engagements at conferences, conventions, online conferences, online conventions, and universities are another very lucrative income stream. Enthusiasts and researchers with compelling stories or expertise can command substantial speaking fees, making it an attractive option for those who want to share their so-called expertise with a live audience. And we have seen the money that some of these people generate. Some people can get $10,000 to do 1 2-hour talk. Some people can get $20,000 to do 1 2-hour talk. We've seen examples of that. There is evidence, ample and supportive evidence that what I'm saying is correct. $10,000 to $20,000. So again, to you stupid people who like to send me hate mail saying that these people aren't here for the money, I don't know what you make in your job in a year, but some people can make in 2 hours what you make, half of what you make or more in a year, right? And we have to view this thing from the lens, we have to follow the money, right? To say that the money is not an issue here or not a problem or not a motivating factor behind these people is really, really being misinformed. And I think being ignorant of the facts, because the facts speak for themselves. Then, of course, there's books and book deals. Many individuals have leveraged their experiences or so-called research into UFO and alien, into the UFO and alien phenomena to secure book deals. Authors can profit from book sales, speaking engagements, and media appearances. The success of books on these topics often relies on effective marketing and established credibility within the community. And we've seen people make huge amounts of money. Bob Lazar, 6 or 7 figures. That's what he got for his book. That's what I'm told, and I believe that. These books can be incredibly, incredibly profitable. And we also see that many monetized YouTube videos are a show host. And by the way, I've been guilty of this. I've brought many authors here to talk about their books. But in my case, I really think that their books were worth reading. I don't know. I don't know if there's like some delineation between somebody just helping somebody sell their grift book and somebody helping somebody sell a book that's worthy of people's time. I don't know. I try to just read the books and then decide whether I want to talk to the author. And if I enjoyed the book, yeah, or found the book to be worthy of the $10 or $20, $50, whatever it costs, yeah. But what you'll notice is that there's a lot of these UFO circle jerk shows that just help the guy sell the book, right? Ross Coulthard's book is garbage. It's garbage fake. It's all nonsense. How many times have we seen somebody, interview Ross Coulthard and like all but blow him about his book full of anonymous sources and nonsense, right? Why don't you get his dick out of your mouth when you interview this clown and ask him, why have you been caught selling 4 fake stories? And how many of the stories in your book are fake since you've been caught selling 4 fake stories? But these UFO circle jerk clowns can't get the cocks out of their mouth long enough to do their actual job. That's another thing. Nobody does their job. We're not going to do our job and actually ask real questions and get to the bottom of this shit. We're just going to softball him, stroke him off, right? Make sure he has a real nice time so he comes back again and does another show appearance where I can make thousands of dollars off this UFO celebrity garbage peddling huckster, right? And the thing is all these guys know that this is what's going on, but nobody will tell you this. But next time you watch some of this stuff, you'll understand better what's really going on. You got the circle jerker blowing the UFO celebrity, giving him he's such a hero. You're a disclosure hero. And their books are full of nonsense largely, and nobody calls them on it. And I'm sorry, if you're going to help a guy sell a book and he has provably been caught selling completely and totally fake stories 4 times, and you're not going to bring that up, then you're part of the grift, dude. You are part. Congratulations, you're a grifter now. Next, of course, we get into documentaries and documentary deals, and this is the realm of infotainment. I don't know, maybe it's that we think if we're watching a documentary, that's better that somehow for our minds maybe than watching a fictional film, like Star Wars, right? If we like aliens and stuff, just watch Star Wars. But somehow, I truly believe that some people just, and I'm one of them, you kind of think if you're watching a documentary, you're doing something good, right? For your education, maybe you're learning something. I don't know. But the UFO and alien world is filled with documentary deals and documentaries. And by the way, I've been offered several documentary deals myself, but then when it gets to the part where here's what I want to talk about, those deals kind of dry up. The people are looking for somebody to sell the lie, the alien lies and the UFO lies. They're not looking for somebody to peel back the layers of deception, but that's a story for another time. The people who are willing to go like, yeah, man, the aliens are here, they get deals participating in or even producing documentaries themselves about UFOs and aliens. And this, of course, can be incredibly profitable. You're talking a really well-received documentary like one of the James Fox. What was that James Fox documentary? Anyway, he made millions of dollars on that. Millions of dollars. Documentaries often garner large viewerships. They can lead to licensing deals, merchandising deals, royalties for the contributors based on the success of the project. A successful documentary can result in lasting financial benefits for years to come. And we saw in some of this recent court depositions, even secret space nonsense documentaries are making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then the main guy telling the secret space stories admits in court he's never been to space, right? And of course, then there's television series and docu-series deals on television networks and streaming networks. And these television networks and streaming networks are cashing in, and they are trying to increasingly explore UFO and alien-related content. And this, of course, creates opportunities for these UFO celebrities. We talked about when we did that recent review of this Netflix Encounter series. And one thing I did like about that is it wasn't all the same people. We've seen all these people in 10 different, they're in like 100. Some of these people are in 100 UFO documentaries. It's ridiculous, right? There's like what their agent just calls and says, I got a job for you. And they don't even ask about it. I'll take it. And we've got slime balls working for people like J3 Films, who, by the way, produced a documentary about a kitty porn collector in the form of Stan Romanek, right? And everybody couldn't wait to sign up and work for them as they are still profiting from and promoting a documentary about a kitty porn collector. It's awesome. It's a great business. So, of course, these television shows and streaming services can raise that person's, star and can offer substantial financial rewards, along with increased visibility, which leads to more book sales. The more people know you, the more books you're going to sell. And the more people will tune in when you have a monetized podcast or show. You'll make more money due to that increased visibility. Then we get to merchandise sales, which I think is probably the most harmless. I really don't care if somebody wants to sell T-shirts, buy a T-shirt, but merchandise sales related to UFO and alien themes have boomed in recent years. And by the way, I'm guilty. We have a merchandise store. By the way, it's in the description of the video. Buy some shirts, bitches. I need the money more than the grifters do. Okay. And of course, You know, you can sell clothing, accessories, collectibles. We're going to be selling a coffin soon, a Truth Seekers coffin. We're going to have Truth Seekers Truthos, a cereal. We're going to have it all. Okay, we're cashing in because these e-commerce platforms and of course conventions where a lot of this merchandise is sold serve as significant outlets for merchandise sales, and I'm trying to get in on all of them. Um, then, of course, audio podcast income. Podcasting has become a popular medium for sharing UFO and alien related content. At one time, of course, the audio format, which Art Bell created essentially and made famous, the paranormal radio show, it transferred into audio podcasts on the internet. And believe it or not, it's still a very booming business, even though most people have moved on to video shows. But audio podcasts are still huge. And I personally know people making thousands of dollars a month just on their audio podcast. Podcasting has been a popular medium for sharing UFO and alien related content. Creators can monetize their podcasts through sponsorships, advertising, and listener contributions, which can provide a steady income stream. And many audio podcasts are also connected in or somehow have deals with terrestrial radio, which brings in more advertising revenue and a steady income stream. And then, of course, there's the paywalls, which, by the way, I hate. We have two here. My Patreon's $1, and the YouTube channel members is $5. And you get the same stuff, but on YouTube you get a member's badge and some other stuff. Anyway, I don't like paywalls, and we keep ours cheap. But I know people that have a $50 monthly paywall, and they do like Zoom calls with their Patreon supporters or channel members or people behind their paywall. It gets really grifty, you know, and some people are paying a lot of money just to talk to their UFO celebrity crushes, I suppose. And there's even people like Nick Pope, who was, I think, for $50, he was selling 15-minute Zoom calls. So there's another income stream. You could just take Zoom calls with UFO dorks and make $50. Wait, you can make $200 an hour if you schedule them right. It's a great business. $50 to talk to some UFO dork fan of yours for 15 minutes. It's great. I don't remember if it was 15. I'm not sure if it was 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Either way, imagine the ego. Like, I'll talk to you for 15 minutes, but you got to give me $50. By the way, I'm going to offer a discount service for $25. I'll talk to you for 10 minutes. Okay. Just putting it out there. We got to keep all income streams coming, to keep up with the Griff Squad. Right. So, these people essentially, they sell, a lot of these characters sell the idea that there's some kind of secret knowledge behind the paywall. There isn't. And even in my case, you get some extra content, a member's journal every month. And we do, like I give the produced videos to the members first by a few days or a week or whatever I can. So they get early access. But there are people charging an awful lot of money to get behind their paywall. And we've seen people like Linda Moulton Howe literally selling lies. She used a picture of that came off of a 2005 video game cover by the name of Area 51. It was a shoot 'em up where you ran through Area 51 and shot aliens. She took that picture, claimed it was a picture of a gray alien taken on the moon, and then hear the full story. Join my members only section. So in order to hear the story of this thing, you had to sign up. These exclusive, insider information deals are always a ripoff. It's not what it appears to be. In that case, she was selling a video game cover as a real picture of an alien, but you had to get behind her paywall to hear all about it. That's scammy and that's scummy. And I don't care how old that old lady is. If my grandma was ripping people off on the internet, I would say something. And so should all of you, you stupid people that love to give her money. Right? Anyway, these insider sessions allow UFO and alien enthusiasts to feel close to their UFO celebrity crushes. And that also helps these UFO celebrities cultivate a very loyal following because their supporters will pay for exclusive content, early access, and other perks. This can prove to be a very reliable income source, often supplemented by merchandise and additional content you can purchase. Then, of course, the super chats and PayPal pledges. We just saw David Wilcock, and by the way, this is very, very low. He used to get thousands of super chats per stream that he did per show. He used to get thousands of dollars. Do you know I've never heard him thank anybody? He hasn't thanked one person for the super chat, maybe one in all these years. He doesn't even give a general thank you for the super chats. He just takes the money. In his most recent stream, he made $500 for a 2-hour broadcast, a little over 2 hours, I think. So that would be $250 an hour to spew nonsense on the internet to stupid people. The super chats and the PayPal pledges can be big money. And live streaming platforms such as YouTube and Twitch enable creators to receive income directly from their audience through super chats, PayPal pledges, or other financial incentives. Enthusiasts can engage with viewers in real time while receiving financial support. And this helps to create a symbiotic relationship. The UFO fans think they're helping this person bring us the truth about the aliens. So they'll throw a couple of bucks in the hat. And the grift goes on. Then, of course, there's courses or special online live events. Some individuals in the field offer online courses or special live events, sharing their so-called secret knowledge in a structured format, like David Wilcock claiming that he has secret and sacred knowledge from the Archangel Michael. And I got to tell you, how grifty is it to pretend that you have secret or sacred knowledge from the Archangel Michael that you're going to sell to people? He's selling an angel's information, right? It's ridiculous. And these are interactive opportunities that make the fans feel closer. A lot of times they're happy to give the money, but we've talked to many damaged disciples of some of these people that have paid big bucks for some of these special courses or online live events. And most that I've spoken to in person, I've spoken to many of them on the phone or through email, they feel ripped off. Some of them have signed up multiple times to these events. And then, of course, we've got Stephen Greer holding these live events where he literally showed people flares being dropped during a military exercise and claimed it was a spaceship while collecting, I think in that event, he collected tens of thousands of dollars from people. It was very expensive to attend that online talking to the aliens, communicating with the alien sessions. So we've got all these income streams, and you people will still send me nasty messages saying there's no money to be made. It's not about the money, Stephen. Well, there's monetized YouTube videos. There's money to be made there. There's guest appearances. There's money to be made there. There's speaking engagements. There's money to be made there. There's books and book deals. There's money to be made there. There's documentaries and documentary deals. There's money to be made there. We've got television series and docuseries deals for streaming services and television networks. There's money to be made there. Merchandise, you can definitely make a little bit. I don't know, even us in our very, we're a tiny, we're tiny compared to some of the Grift Squad and their followings, but you can make a little bit of money selling merchandise. And then, of course, the audio podcast income, Patreon and members income, there's money to be made there. Super chats, that's where most of it comes from for us. I don't know about for everybody else. And then courses or special live events, there's money to be made there. And we've talked about David Wilcock. I've mentioned Stephen Greer. You've got Lou Elizondo, a man who lied to the New York Times and claimed he ran a secret $22 million Pentagon program that never existed. And he's a UFO expert and people pay him big money to hear him talk? Really? Really? Okay. You're going to listen to a proven liar? His whole story starts with a lie. And now he's getting awards, right? What was he, GQ Hero of the Year? Hey, GQ, heroes don't lie to start their careers. Clowns do. Lou Elizondo is a money-hungry clown who, by the way, failed at several businesses, I'm told, before finding the UFO grift and deciding that he was a UFO expert from the Pentagon, even though he never investigated shit for the Pentagon. Not only did he not investigate UFOs, he never investigated anything but office space for the Pentagon. There, he was an office space investigator. Then, of course, we've got Linda Moulton Howe, who's perhaps a millionaire. She's been all over documentaries and Ancient Aliens and all kinds of stuff. She gets $10,000 to $20,000, I'm told, for one speaking engagement at some of these bigger conferences. And she's been caught selling completely and totally fake pictures of aliens twice now. And by the way, that's just by me. I'm told there's a third or fourth time, but that was well before my time of really paying attention to what she was selling people. And I'm not even sure I was told that. So we'll just put that out there. She may have done it a few more times before I was paying attention, right? Why is she getting $10,000 to $20,000? She got caught selling completely and totally fake pictures of aliens. One of them was a goddamn video game cover. Why is she getting $10,000 to $20,000 to give a talk, right? What's she going to talk to us about? How to scam people? And I don't care. I don't care. If my grandmom was scamming people with fake pictures of aliens on the internet, I would speak up and say something about it. And so should everybody. But nobody says anything. You just give them all a pass. And then, of course, there's David Grush, right? Oh, before him, Third Phase of Moon, right? They push, they've been pushed more. They have pushed more completely and totally fake videos. We caught them accepting fake videos that people made, told them how they made it. It was a Pepper's Ghost. Here's how I faked this UFO. They ran with it and used it anyway and pretended it was a goddamn spaceship. We've got the emails to prove they did that. They're still getting huge views. You know why? Because a pretty lie is so much better to some people than the ugly truth. And that makes me sad, right? So, you know, occasionally I go, I'm pushing very hard here to try to make my show successful. And we hit all these brick walls. All I got to do to be successful, at least financially, I know the formula. You just put out fake nonsense. You just put out fake nonsense and pretend it's all real and pretend you don't know you're putting out fake nonsense, right? Then we get on to Dave Grush, a man who came out 100, what was it? I always forget. He came out 134 days ago with fantastical stories confirming everything that we've been taught is true. The government has alien bodies, and they've even got intact, recovered alien spacecraft, and they are, we're going to bring you the truth about that. And we've got all this evidence, and I've got 40 witnesses. Well, goddamn, dude, what are you waiting for, dude? What are you waiting for, Dave Grush? It's been 134 days since you made your original claims, your allegations of an alien cover-up. It's 134 days. Where is the goddamn evidence? Oh, that's right. So far, 134 days in, Dave Grush has no evidence. But he's right there with his hands out, filling his goddamn pockets with every UFO dollar he can. And I guarantee you, take this to the bank, bitches. He's going to be at all the UFO conferences, and he's going to get paid thousands and thousands of dollars to speak his so-called truth. That's based on stories people told him, and zero credible evidence, zero physical evidence, zero corroborating witnesses, unless you count those 40 anonymous sources he claims he had. But again, he's right there with his hands out. Everybody is with their hands out. Give me some more money and I'll tell you some more of the UFO secrets that I don't have. That's another thing. Everybody's a goddamn pretender in this thing. They don't have, I don't care where you worked in the government. You don't know any more than me. You know nothing more than the average UFO enthusiast knows. And we see that Grush is repeating garbage from the UFO community. We already knew about this hoaxed Italian UFO case, right? That's your evidence? Hoaxed fake case that was proven to be fake? That's what you got? but he's right there with his hands out. Look, I'll regurgitate. I'll tell you, you're right about all of it. They definitely got the bodies, man. Give me some more money, right? It's amazing. So, and I've got more to share with you, friends, because recently it has come to my attention, and oh boy, what a great job some people do looking into the money side of things, right? You know, the world of UFOs and aliens has proven to be a surprisingly lucrative industry for those who claim that they have some secret knowledge about these issues, these aliens and these UFOs and these visiting aliens and the cover up. And these people, have created, there is a very lucrative industry for this. And as public interest in these phenomenon continues to grow, so too do the income streams available to these so-called UFO experts or UFO celebrities. From YouTube to speaking engagements, merchandise sales to Patreon memberships, individuals can literally strike it rich in this field, and they have a variety of avenues to explore in order to strike it rich. It has literally been called, Gary Nolan called it an unrealized gold mine. I called this piece tonight the extraterrestrial gold rush just because of that. He's literally pointing out how much money there is to be made with this shit, right? But we're not supposed to be a little suspicious of their motives? I beg to differ. So as long as the fascination with UFOs and aliens persist, I believe that the extraterrestrial gold rush is likely to continue. Now, one of the other issues that we're going to be exploring tonight is the UFO-related nonprofit or public benefit corporation. Let's talk just briefly, because we've covered it so extensively, about TTSA. You remember where the fake Pentagon UFO program director and Christopher Mellon and Hal Puthoff, who's a Scientologist and a wackadoo who got fooled by a guy using magic tricks on him. Hal Puthoff was fooled by Uri Geller, who used children's magic tricks on him to show him he had superpowers, and Hal Puthoff was fooled by that. And washed up rock star, once rock star, those 12-year-old girls who bought those albums, they grow up and they don't care about you anymore, Tom DeLonge. So Tom DeLonge had to find a new grift, and he started something called To the Stars Academy, which he claimed would be a public benefit company. And they were going to build a spaceship. Give us your money. Invest with us. We're going to build a spaceship with a, quote, revolutionary power source that would change the world. And I'm here to tell you that TTSA, to me, it was a scam. They collected millions of dollars claiming they were going to build a spaceship. They've got a guy who lied to the New York Times. He was one of their members, right? Lied about running a Pentagon UFO program. By the way, while they were collecting money from investors, they were claiming that Lou Elizondo ran a Pentagon $22 million secret UFO program. Turns out that was completely and totally false information. No, Lou Elizondo never ran that program. He had no responsibility. There was no official program involving Lou Elizondo for the Pentagon during his employment there. None. So that alone is a form of investment fraud. You can't offer completely and totally false information while soliciting public investors' money and lying about the people involved in your organization, but that's what they did. And then, of course, we've got Hal Puthoff, a wackadoo scientist, right, who got fooled into, he wasted a lot of government money. Go watch The Men Who Stare at Goats. Hal Puthoff was one of those scientist clowns trying to teach people to use superpowers to spy on the Soviets or doing remote viewing, investigations. And he thinks all this shit is real. He's a wackadoo. And they promised everybody they were going to build a spaceship with a revolutionary power source. Then they implied that they had alien crash retrieval materials, and they were going to spill the beans on all of it. Invest with us. None of that happened. And instead, Tom DeLonge took, according to some reports, including Jeremy McGowan, once of UAPX, who spent a lot of time with Lou Elizondo. You know, they were working on a television deal together. According to that report, Lou Elizondo said that Tom DeLonge took all the money and spent it on a stupid movie. And now we can see that stupid movie, right? And it's garbage. And Lou Elizondo claimed that Tom DeLonge would probably be going to jail for misappropriating those funds, right? So who misrepresented what TTSA was doing or was supposed to do to the UFO community? Would it be all of them? I mean, I don't, you know, you got spokespeople, but aren't they all responsible for taking in $2 million of people's money and then not doing what they claimed that they would do? And isn't it interesting that, you know, they took everybody's money, they didn't deliver on anything that they promised investors. According to reporting in the Washington Spectator, they are or were, I know they were, and they may be again under SEC investigation for that whole thing. You can't lie to investors and then just get away with it. You can't lie and collect public investment money in order to, to enrich yourself on lies. It's against the rules of, public investments. But here we are, and I don't believe that anybody's ever faced any consequences. Millions of dollars raised by the TTSA folks. And what did they do with the money? And by the way, nobody got back even the original amount of money they invested, let alone made any money. And when you call it an investment, that implies that you're going to make money on it, right? I've got a real estate. I've got a plot of land. That to me is an investment. I'm going to make money on that plot of land. It's an investment. But to TTSA, it was just a donation, apparently, so that Tom DeLonge could make a really shitty movie with your $2 million, right? And by the way, that movie won't even make $2 million. It's my prediction. I've seen the movie. It's garbage. It looks like it was made by, like serious high school film students, I would say. That's what the film looks like it was made by. Not by a grown man, not by a man with $2 million in a budget. It's absolutely ridiculous. I apologize. Speaking of all the money to be made, you can make some money telling the truth. I'm sorry. I missed these. So 50,000 Bs with kind and generous $5 says, Stephen, you should do a parody sighting reports as different characters. Would be hilarious. Yeah, that's a good idea. And thanks for your generosity. 50,000 Bs, big show supporter. Trolly troll with kind and generous $5. And thanks for being a member. Says Halloween is 2 weeks away. I suggest a rainbow body costume or whatever it was Wilcock predicted. Yeah, that's a great idea. And thanks for your kindness, generosity, and support, and for being a member. I'm not here. This isn't happening with a kind and generous £9.99. £9.99. Is that how you say it? I think so. And thank you, our friend across the pond, big show supporter. Did you ever think UFO disclosure skepticism or conspiracy theory debunking would be an anti-established, almost underground position in a landscape where fraud is rewarded? Well, I knew that, yeah, this is something that we should recognize and understand and talk about for a moment. And thanks for bringing that up, because that kind of would have slipped my mind. I did know, I assumed that my skepticism and my going after the grifts and showing people selling completely and totally fake stories, I thought it would be an unpopular opinion. And I thought, though, that I would still be maybe half as successful as some of the grifters selling the lies. And it didn't work out. The math did not work out. I'm maybe 1 to 10% successful as some of the grifters financially, I guess you could say. I don't even think 10%, 1 to 5%, maybe. It's hard to calculate. But yes, I realized that this would be an unpopular position to take. And in fact, so many people, when I started getting really skeptical, and that was with my original show, The Midnight Hour, on our audio podcast, that was before Truth Seekers, which started about 3 years ago. as soon as I started getting critical and skeptical, like my phone blew up, and everybody else that had a UFO show podcast was like calling me and messaging me saying, "Oh, you don't want to go down that, Stephen. You'll screw yourself out of all the money. You don't want to do this. You can't be." And then I would get things like people would say, "Well, you can do what you're doing, but you're being too nasty about it." Like, I don't have any moral obligation to be nice to somebody that's scamming people out of money. I have no moral obligation to be nice to those people. But thank you. I'm not there. This isn't happening. And I hope that helps. Yes, I knew it would be unpopular. I didn't think it'd be this unpopular, though. I thought I'd still had a chance because, and by the way, we still do have a chance because we have many of what I call the damaged disciples. That's what most of our audience is here. People that were true believers and they got deep down the rabbit hole and then realized, oh my God, these people are conning me. These people are scamming me with fake nonsense. Yeah, so I appreciate your kindness, generosity, and support. Much appreciated. Then we have Sandra McDonald, longtime show supporter and a YouTube channel member. Thanks for being that. Weirdists, Elena Dannon, an emissary for the Galactic Federation. Yeah, people give her money too. Elena Dannon, for those that don't know, she's got pictures of her alien boyfriend that she took from a stock image website, and it's called Surfer Dude Hair. So she took this Thor-looking, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, good-looking, buff guy, and she photoshopped the images of him in like a blue alien uniform and tells people, that's my boyfriend. What is the guy's name? I always forget the guy's name. It's so stupid. I think it's not Valiant Thor, but it's something to do with Thor, right? Anyway, she tells people that she goes and has meetings with all the aliens in the Galactic Federation, and people give her a lot of money. You're absolutely right, Sandra McDonald. And we want to take a moment while we're talking about money to recognize and thank all of the kindness and generosity and support that we do get from you YouTube channel members, you Patreon supporters, and you super chatters, PayPal pledgers, and more. Thanks to all of you for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
So we thank all of you. I'm going to go back over to the live chat, and we'll take a few comments and questions from the live chat. Deb from Sac says, unfortunately, new people in this community are not stupid, just gullible, trusting, and are taken advantage of. It takes a while to catch on, which is why this show is so important. Well, thank you, Deb, and we appreciate that. We appreciate your kindness, generosity, and support. UFO Shane says, well, Jeremy can drop F-bombs all the time. He just did it in the most recent Weaponized, and he definitely isn't demonetized. No, his show should be called Monetized. I don't know why our shows keep getting demonetized. Somebody told me it's even just getting loud will alert the, but I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do a show where I feel like I'm walking on eggshells and I can't, do the show my way. I mean, all right, I get the cursing, right? I get the cursing, and I'm trying to cut that out, but it can't be the cursing because just why UFO Shane said it. This Jeremy Corbell drops F-bombs through his whole podcast, and he's fully monetized. So is the lesson that you're allowed to be monetized if you're selling people lies? Because Corbell's been caught selling completely fake stories multiple times before. And again, I do feel like there's a thumb on the scale. It's very unfair. Archaic Revival says, I don't like to brag, but I coined the term Dolomite. You're welcome. And astronaut. Actually, Archaic Revival, I think astronaut came from Jay Widener, but don't quote me on that. Or maybe he got it from you and I got it from him. I stole astronaut from Jay Widener, just so everybody's aware. Yeah, and we thank all of you for your kindness, generosity, and support. I didn't realize that we were so far into I was so far behind in the live chat. I apologize. Entity Seeker, thanks for being a member, says they just added the job title to the taxation depart, professional UFO grifter and whistleblower, nothing burger. Yeah. Yeah, and good point. Kira I am says no one can really be an expert when the phenomenon is different for each experiencer. Well, that's a good point. Oh, and William Pullen is here, which reminds me of the meat of tonight's broadcast. I want to take a moment to recognize and understand. I was not aware of the situation which we're going to talk about next, which is just a great example of the money situation and um, just how much money there is to be made and how deceptive a lot of this stuff is. So, William Pullen is a UFO researcher. He's been a guest with me before. We asked him again, but I think you weren't doing any guest appearances or shows at the time. But I'd be happy to have you back here, Mr. Pullen. So, Mr. Pullen and his wife, Venus, uh, was doing some research, and in the course of their research, they came across these MUFON returns, which are amazing. And I want to thank him and his wife for sharing these with me because these documents, these are the 990 forms, much like the 990 forms that we got from um, the 990 forms that we got for David Wilcock's charity. For those unaware, if you run a charity or a nonprofit in the United States, you have to file what's called a 990 form, and on that form, you have to detail this is how much money we took in, and this is what we spent it on. And I got to tell you, MUFON's 990s are a joke. I'm going to just begin with reading from you. This is from, I think, MUFON's own website, MUFON.com. It says the Mutual UFO Network is a US-based nonprofit organization composed of civilian volunteers who study reported UFO sightings. It is one of the oldest and largest organizations of its kind, claiming more than 4,000 members worldwide. And representatives in more than 43 countries in all 50 states. The organization has been criticized for its focus on pseudoscience, and critics say its investigations failed to use the scientific method. Newsweek reported in 2018 evidence of anti-immigrant, anti-trans, anti-Muslim, and anti-African American sentiments among some MUFON officials, including MUFON donor J.Z. Knight and former MUFON state director for Pennsylvania. Of course, it would be my state, John Ventry, both of whom have publicly expressed racist and or anti-Semitic views and are described in the article as high-tier inner circle donors to MUFON. The expressed far-right viewpoints kicked off a wave of anger and resignations across MUFON, including former MUFON Director of Research Chris Cogswell, who stated, "My internal conscience could not let me continue," and former board member and Washington State Director James Clarkson, who stated, "Remaining in MUFON in any capacity is morally unacceptable." Then our friend Erica Lukes, former MUFON State Director for Utah, is also reported in the article as describing MUFON as, quote, an organization unwilling to adequately express sexual harassment. So apparently Miss Luke's experienced some sexual harassment from members, and they did nothing about it. In 2020, Vice magazine reported that Ken Pfeiffer, head of MUFON's Rhode Island chapter, posted racist memes and comments on Facebook during the height of National Black Lives Matter protests. So great organization. But tonight, we're not going to talk about so much about their, lack of accountability for people making really racist, hurtful, and anti-Semitic comments, statements, or whatever. We're going to follow the money. After all, if you're just joining us, tonight's broadcast is called "Shining a Spotlight on the UFO Money." So we're going to get into their 990 forms. Just bear with me a moment. I've got this queued up, and I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to begin with the 2019. And remember that MUFON is an organization that's supposed to be about UFO research, right? So this is their 990 form. This is the form that they have to file with the IRS, in which they have to detail all of the money that they have taken in
and what it is that they have done with the money. And we have detailed some of these forms before, and these forms are a great and valuable resource because it shows it shows where the money is, how it's being generated, and what they do with it. And I think that's fair. If you're going to run a nonprofit, any member of the public, by the way, can ask for these 990 forms, and the organization has to give it to you. By the way, I'm aware that a man named Jason Shirka is selling, let's just say, questionable medical products, and he has a nonprofit. I've asked him to see his 990 forms, and he gave me back the $1 that I sent in as a donation. I couldn't find there was a contact form, and I asked, and nobody got back to me. So then I gave him $1 and asked in the PayPal message, "Where's your 990 forms? I'd like to see them." So far, they haven't given them to me. And by the way, I have carefully documented that and will be following up with the IRS. If I have to, I will file a complaint. If you run a nonprofit and you collect money, you're required to provide your organization's paperwork to any member of the public who asks, according to my understanding. So interestingly, in the year 2019, MUFON membership dues was $292,877. All other contributions is $59,000. So they generated $352,000 in income. And then we get to see what they spent it on, right? We're going to see what they spent it on. Advertising. So they had advertising sales. This is all income. So shipping income, they made money on shipping. Media income, they made money on media. After all, some of them, MUFON is involved with the History Channel TV shows and stuff like that, right? So they made 23 grand for that. The total they took in is $563,370. That's $500,000 for you working people. Next, we're going to get to see what did they spend it on in the year 2019. Well, somebody's getting paid to run the organization, which I don't have a problem with, but I don't know, $60,000 seems like an awful lot of money for compensation of current officers, directors, trustees, and key employees. But what do I know? I know you're going to need a secretary to run that organization. That's probably, 20, 30,000. I don't know what the rest of the money goes to, or if all this money, there's no breakdown. So, and by the way, I've reached out to MUFON International and asked them for an interview about what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Crickets, which means they're afraid to answer questions because they know that something doesn't look right here. Other salaries and wages, $78,000. So actually, they spent $120,000 or more on salaries. So somebody's making some money. Payroll taxes, they paid the taxes for the people. I don't understand that. Fees for services, non-employees, they spent $76,000 on hiring people to do things for them. That seems to be an inordinate amount of money. Like, who are you hiring? Fees for services. MUFON spent almost $80,000 on, what do they do? Why do they need to spend $80,000? I mean, these are just questions. Other. I love other. We spent 10 grand on other. Don't ask us. It's other. Great. But here's where it gets interesting. They spent $73,610 on advertising and promotion. And this is where it gets interesting. So $73,000 you spent on advertising for what? Oh, they advertise for people to join MUFON, and you got to pay to join MUFON and be one of their investigators, right? Office expenses, $15,000 to run an office. Information technology, $21,000. And by the way, I'm a computer science guy. That's an awful lot of money for, I just think that's an awful lot of money. Royalties. They had to pay $21,000 in royalties. Remember, this is expenses. Occupancy, I guess that's an office they rent, 10 grand. They spent $4,925 on insurance. I wonder if they have insurance when their international director gets arrested for trying to have sex with what he thought was a 13-year-old girl. I don't know. I don't know if they got, child predator insurance. Merchandise service charge. They spent $6,000 for that. Journal printing and posting. $37,000. I'm trying to see where prepaid expenses, $6,300. I'm trying to see where the research is. Travel, they spent $9,339, right? Great. And there was a line in these other ones where they spent something like $10,000 on research. Let me see if I skipped it or missed it. I don't think so. No, these are the total expenses. Okay. So they spent almost $7,000 on accounting. Their management, $76,572. Payroll, something doesn't seem right here. And one of the things you might notice is how much did they spend on actually doing research? How much did they spend on actually investigating UFOs? It's kind of hard to tell from this. Maybe that travel was for traveling around. But then again, if you're a regular MUFON investigator, they don't pay your travel. So who's spending the 10 grand in travel? It's great. So their total functional expenses was $480,440. So they spent almost every dime they took in. And then I love this. This is like other. We've got all other expenses, $14,689. So they've got $25,000 in expenses. They're not disclosing what they did with that money. Great. Listen, if they had a bad year and, we just didn't do enough this year, right? We dropped the ball. And by the way, there is no 2020, I suppose, because of the pandemic, but we have the 2021. Which is just as interesting because it shows the income through contributions. Let me share my screen and we'll go back to that. So contributions and grants, last year was $387. Hey, bumper year 2021, they got almost $500,000 in contributions and grants. Program service revenue, $24,000. This year they got $136,000. Then other revenue, $109,000. Their total revenue for 2021, $713,865. So I for one, when a nonprofit like this is raising that much, they raised almost $1 million. That's quite a lot of money. And I'll spare you the boring parts. We're going to get to what they spent it on, right? That's what we want to know. We want to see what they spent it on. So in 2021, compensation, $38,500, other salaries, $49K. The management, $60,000 for this year. Advertising and promotion, $116,807 they spent on advertising and promotion. Amazing, right? This is amazing. They're spending $115,000 on what? Begging for money, begging for new members, begging for people to become investigators. This year they spent $30,000 just on office expenses. Dude, how much paper are you guys using that you needed $30,000? Are you kidding me? Occupancy, $43,000 this year. Is that hotels or is that like an office they rent that costs what kind of office that you rent for a tiny organization like this? It's not like they need an organization big enough to have meetings with all the members. They're state organizations. But anyway, $43,000. Conferences, conventions, and meetings, they spent $100,000 on. Printing and publications, $60,000. They spent $60,000 on printing. This year we have all other expenses, $25K, and other 13. So that's $38,000 that they spent on stuff that they don't care to tell you what they spent that $38,000 on. It's amazing. Information technology. This doesn't make sense. Why in one year is it $600 and the other year it's thousands? None of this makes any sense. It's amazing. This year they spent $15,000 on travel, postage and shipping, $22,000. Do you got receipts for the post office for $22,000 for your organization for 1 year's postage fees? Because you're supposed to have that if this is what you're claiming here. Website development, they paid, holy Jesus, they paid $21,000 for website development. Let me guess, somebody's nephew's got a web company, right? Or is a service provider. Because look, I'm going to show it to you. There's no way on God's green earth that they should have spent $20,000 on this, because their website is something that you can make on Wix for $20 a month. And that's my opinion, being somewhat of a computing professional, let's just say. This is their website. They're saying that they spent $20,000 in 1 year to build this website. This is literally a website you can build on GoDaddy or Wix for $20 a month, in my opinion. I mean, it could be wrong. Maybe they've got a huge, database. Oh, that's right. They used to have a huge public database of UFO sightings. Now they put that behind the paywall, and you have to be a MUFON member to access their database. So what is the public benefit of MUFON? You know, I really don't know. I mean, they're supposed to be a civilian organization that investigates UFOs. All I see is them collecting a lot of money, and in my view, they're really not using it for its best purposes. But you know, the last one is the one that's most damaging, though, and I'm gonna share my screen. We'll show that one, and that would be the 2022, because in that one, you know what? I'm just gonna share from my 1 second here. Let me just cue this up, because these are huge forms. I don't want to bore you with the first 10 pages of nothingness. Okay, we'll go right here. All right, we're going to share this. So remember, this is a civilian UFO research organization, and this is what they're spending their money on. Let's go first. This is the income total. Membership dues, $356,000 for 2021. Or 1 second. Is that the earliest we have? 2019, 2021, and 2022. 1 second. Oh, that's 2021. This one appears to be 2021 too. 1 second. I know that one was 2019. We have the 2021. Just bear with me 1 moment. Let me get I have a screenshot of this, the important parts that I shared on my Facebook. Don't believe I shared it on my Twitter, but now's a good time to remind you to follow me on Twitter. It's at Stephen Cambion. It's a good place to get all the latest. 1 second. Okay, I got it. Good. All right. And I apologize for that. It looks like they may have sent me 2 2022s, and that's fine. And by the way, we want to thank William and Venus Pullen again, who, by the way, they've started a Facebook group that is investigating is investigating this situation. Oh, you know what? Here, I'll get it so I can make it big. 1 second, and I'll share it that way. The most interesting part to me is that this organization is supposed to be a civilian UFO research organization. But what we get when you look into their finances is very telling. Here, and this I believe is 2022. So fee management just 2,000. Like, the financials are all over the place. Why are you paying 2,000 for management 1 year and 60,000 for it another year? Lobbying, they spent $60,000 lobbying Congress. I wonder how much of that went to their buddies, right? Lobbying, you spent $60,000. Other, this year they spent $95,000 in other. That's a lot of other. What did they spend? Almost $100,000 that they just categorized as other. Office expenses this year was $31,000. Boy, they spent a lot of. The local staples must love them. They're spending $30,000 in 1 year on office expenses, and again, information technology, $30,000. What are they doing with any computer? Listen, do you have any idea what I could do for one of my clients that has $29,000? That would be like a lot of services, but so I'd really like to drill down with them, being a computing or IT professional myself. What is it that they're spending $29,000 on in 1 year? They have a website and a database. That's what they have. All of which, in my opinion, can be hosted on a Wix website for $20 a month. Why are they spending $30,000? Travel, they spent $40,000 on travel. They spent $92,000 on conventions, meetings, and conferences. Great. Printing and publications, $7,000. Merchant service fees, again with the postage. Again, it's all over the place. 1 year they spent $30,000 on postage. This year they only spent $12,000. Why the big drop? Maybe go paperless and not spend even $12,000 on postage and shipping, right? But the big takeaway is that they spent $98,000 advertising. Again, right? $60,000 on lobbying, and remember, research, $9,310. That's what they spent out of all of the money. Out of all this money that they collected, I'm sorry. Let me make that big. Out of all this money that they collected, and remember, what they're supposed to do is UFO investigations and research. They spent $9,000 out of $500,000 in income on actual real research, and the rest of everything that they spent, I don't know. It doesn't look good. And, this is just a perfect example of, I believe, some of the deceptions and abuses that go on in the UFO community. If you're going to accept public donations as an organization and claim that you're there to investigate UFOs, then why are you spending a tiny, tiny portion of your annual income on actual research? You only spent 10 grand out of $500,000. Like, somebody do the math. What percentage of their income are they actually doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's kind of ridiculous, if you ask me. But interesting that what we get is, excuses from them. Like, I reached out to them and tried to ask them questions. And I would think that them being a public organization, they would want to, set the record straight. I don't know. Oh, yeah. So let me share my screen. So it's 9310 for this year. I'm trying to find it for the previous years. So just bear with me one moment while I bring up these other returns. And I apologize. I should have had these queued and ready to go. But it is what it is. We roll with the punches here. I like to say you get the show warts and all. So let me find this. And while I'm finding this, I want to ask you in the live chat and you in the comments, if your organization is supposed to be doing research into UFOs, and and believe it or not, on the previous forms, there is no line for research, or I wasn't able to find one. So they're not listing anything for research in 2019. And in 2021, they're not listing, are they? Let me check again. I think these are two of the same forms, but so it's interesting. In 2019, they spent zero on actual UFO research, according to their own documents. I don't understand this. You're a UFO organization and you're collecting $700,000 one year, $500,000 another year, and your stated purpose is supposed to be to investigate UFOs, right? And do research. But you only spent $9,000 out of all this? This doesn't make any sense to me. And somebody has to explain it to me. Maybe under all other expenses or other is research for the previous years. But even still, it's a pitiful amount of money that they've got under other on those other years. So incredible that they collected something like, the one year it was $750,000 or so that they collected. So if this is where it gets interesting to me, because if you collected like $750,000, you only spent 10 on actual UFO research, and you spent somehow $700,000 on nonsense. And who's running this organization? I'd like to interview them, and I'd like them to explain to me how they can collect as an organization $700,000 and only spend $9,300 on their stated mission purpose. Right? It's amazing to me, and this is why the 990 system is good, because the 990 system is let's take a look at their mission statement and goals and their core values. This will be a laugh, right? We'll have a good laugh. One second. Oh, I gotta do this again. All right, we're going to share their mission statement, from their about section, because that's where it gets interesting. Like, I can't believe that this is just okay. But, welcome to the wacky world of UFOs. Mission statement and goals. These are the words that inspire us each and every day. Our goals: 1, investigate UFO sightings and collect the data in the MUFON database for use by researchers worldwide. Only if you pay them. Researchers worldwide cannot use their information unless you pay them to be a member. 2, promote research on UFOs to discover the true nature of the phenomenon with an eye towards scientific breakthroughs and improving life on the planet. 3, educate the public on the UFO phenomenon and its potential impact on society. Okay, so maybe the advertising would cover the educating the public, maybe, but I think most of their advertising is probably geared towards getting people to donate more. Promote research on UFOs and discover the true nature of the phenomenon. Well, you collected over $700,000, and all you spent on that, point 2, is 10 grand. Or point 1. Point 1 and 2, you only spent 10 grand out of 700,000? This is ridiculous. And welcome to the money pit. Welcome to the slimy world of UFOs, right? What are they doing with all this money? And who's getting? I want to see the contracts for the computer services that cost $30,000 or thousands of dollars in web fees to produce a website that you can make on Wix for $20 a month. I don't know who's running their organization, but I think they belong the same place that Jan Harzan is right now. For those unaware, Jan Harzan was their former international director, who several years ago got popped for trying to have sex with what he believed to be a 13-year-old girl. And yeah, that's the great guy that they had running this organization. One second, I'm going to look up that article on him. Oh boy, you could still buy his audiobooks. And Jan Harzan, of course. This is a Vice article about their former international director. Head of major UFO organization arrested on child solicitation charges. Great. You got a great guy running this group. By the way, he's no longer running the group. Head of major UFO organization. Jan Harzan, head of Mutual UFO Network, was arrested July 3rd and is accused of soliciting, quote, sexual activity from a detective he believed was a 13-year-old girl. Oh, too bad. In his mugshot, he was wearing a MUFON shirt. I'm going to say that again. In his mugshot, after they arrested him, he was wearing a MUFON shirt, which means that Mr. Jan Harzan went to meet a 13-year-old girl to have sex with while he was wearing a MUFON shirt. The executive director of the Mutual UFO Network, one of the oldest UFO research organizations in the United States, has been arrested on charges of soliciting a minor for the purpose of engaging in sexual activity, according to police. He has headed MUFON since 2013, is accused of soliciting sexual activity from a detective he believed was a 13-year-old girl. Great. In recent years, the UFO research world has been flooded with Pizzagate-esque allegations, falsely linking scientific and government elites to the occult sexual abuse of children and accusing the government of releasing UFOs to cover up child predator rings. Harzan's arrest is almost certain to reignite those controversies. Court records show that Harzan was arrested on charges of communicating with a minor with intent to engage in a lewd act, as well as arranging a meeting to engage with a lewd act with a minor in public. Harzan, MUFON, and the Huntington Beach Police Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. See update below. Yeah, let me get to the update because I think maybe MUFON said something about this. Effective immediately, he will no longer... okay. In a statement to Motherboard, MUFON's board of directors said that Harzan has been, quote, permanently removed as executive director of the organization. In light of recent events, Jan Harzan has been permanently removed as the executive director of Mutual UFO Network. Effective immediately, he will no longer serve any role in the organization. David McDonald, executive director emeritus and a member of the MUFON board of directors, will now assume the duties of executive director. MUFON remains committed to its core mission of the study of UFOs, even though they take in $700,000 and only spend $10,000 on actual research. The benefit of humanity. They're doing this for the benefit of humanity. This mission is greater than any one person or member. One person or member of MUFON and supersedes all other considerations, right? And isn't it interesting? Like, I don't even think they threw out those people who made all the racist comments and anti-Semitic comments and whatever. It's great. They didn't throw those people out. It's amazing that they threw this guy out. Would have never thought, right? Jan Harzan, he's a creeper, a disgusting creeper. Right. And then they replaced him with a guy who takes people up in their airplanes, in his airplanes, so they could have sex. Like, you can pay their, at least that's the last director I was aware of. Maybe they changed again. After Jan Harzan, they hired an international director who was a pilot. And one of the services he offered was you can hire him in his plane with your girlfriend or your wife and go up in a plane and bang. Great, real credible organization. Now, I want to share this as well. And this is from the San Antonio Aerial Phenomenon Research Organization. MUFON, are they really 1,000 strongs? Tax returns reviewed. The Mutual UFO Network, with thousands of claims members, its seemingly powerful force in the world of UFO research. However, a closer look at MUFON's financials reveals some troubling concerns that raise questions about the true nature of their about their membership and their priorities. MUFON's last three available tax returns, 2019, 2021, and 2022, only 8 to 9 voting members of the governing party are listed. This strikingly low number immediately raises doubts about the legitimacy of MUFON's 1,000-strong member count. A genuine membership could entail voting rights within the organization, allowing members to influence its direction and decision-making. The fact that less than 10 individuals hold this privilege suggests that MUFON's so-called members may, in reality, be subscribers rather than active participants in the organization. Yeah, that's another thing. Unless you're a board member, you have no say in anything in MUFON. I've heard that from many members, and they're all pissed off about it. So, MUFON, if you're listening, maybe you ought to give everybody the right to vote especially the right to decide what to spend all that money on. The distinction between members and subscribers is crucial. Members typically have a say in the direction of an organization, while subscribers often receive content and updates without the ability to influence its policies. MUFON's tax returns seem to indicate that their thousands of members might, in fact, be paying for access to information, events, or publications rather than participating in the decision-making processes that one would expect from an organization claiming to have such a vast membership. And by the way, I know many people who are members of MUFON and they have no say in anything. They're only members of MUFON so they can get access to their database. That's all they're members for, and that's all they get. That's it for their money every year. Another concerning aspect is MUFON's significant spending on advertising and promotion, which exceeded $100,000 in 2021. Pardon me. Pardon me, friends. Got a terrible tickle. Okay, so for advertising and promotion in 2021, it exceeded $100,000. An organization dedicated to the scientific study of UFOs should ideally focus its resources on research, investigation, and the dissemination of credible findings. While some level of promotion is necessary for any organization, the scale of MUFON's promotional expenditures raises eyebrows. The question arises, why does an organization committed to the study of the UFO phenomenon need to allocate such substantial resources to self-promotion? It suggests a possible misalignment of priorities. If MUFON's primary goal is to foster understanding and investigation of UFOs, their financial focus should be on scientific research, data collection, and educational programs, rather than on extensive advertising campaigns. Interested in participating in the discussion about shining a spotlight on UFO money, join my friend Stephen Cambion on his program Truth Seekers on YouTube at 9 p.m. And they kindly shared the link to the broadcast that you're watching right now. And I want to thank, that was written by Venus Pullen, and I thank her and William Pullen for sharing those findings. Pretty interesting. One second here. Oh, this is great. This is great. One second. I'm going to share this comment because this is important. And we thank there's some MUFON members that are chiming in and they're not too happy. So Nick Rosler, and I'm sorry if I'm mangling that, Rosler or Rosler, I apologize, not sure which way to say that. It says, full disclosure, I've been a MUFON member since 1998, a benefactor of MUFON since 2007. I have publicly requested their 990s board meeting minutes and a copy of MUFON's employment contract with Harzan in 2020, shortly after Harzan arrest. Crickets. MUFON does not make 990s public. Well, that might be what they told you, Nick Rossler, but they're required by law to hand over the 990s to any member of the public who asks, especially a contributor. If you gave them money and then asked for the 990s, you have a right to the 990s. And by the way, Nick, I will be I'm going to put these 990 forms on Google Drive, and I'm going to be sharing them with everybody that wants them. They're public records. These are public records. They do not have the and thank you for that comment, Nick. They don't have the right to withhold those from you. The other things I'm not so sure of. I'd have to check into that. I would think being a donor, though, they would just happily give you whatever paperwork you wanted. It's interesting that they denied you the 990 forms. They're required by law to give people copies of the 990s. And let me just catch up to the live chat. I'm sorry, I'm way behind here. And we'll take some comments and questions from the live chat. I think I missed a super chat or two here. Yes, I did. Anthony Peterson with a kind and generous $2 says, I still want to believe in galactic emissaries. It's a good story, right? Does anybody remember the movie The Last Starfighter? That's what a lot of these people telling UFO stories is like. Like, hey, man, I was just an ordinary guy, and the aliens contacted me, and I went into space, and I fought some space battles with them, and we saved Earth. It's The Last Starfighter. Go watch that old 80s movie. And thank you, Anthony Peterson, for your kindness, generosity, and continued support. Longtime show supporter. Thanks, Anthony. Tales of the Sonic Voyage, and thanks for being a member. And a kind and generous $5. Terry Brown, you rock, Stephen. Thanks for all you do, bringing the truth to us out here in the wastelands. Well, I'm glad that our broadcasts reach to the wastelands, wherever that may be. But wherever you are, I hope that you're happy, healthy, and warm, and well-fed. And I'm glad that you're here, Tales of the Sonic Voyage. Thanks for being a member. And thanks, Anthony Peterson, as well. Thanks to all of you guys for doing your part to help us. Look, man, I'm no MUFON. I'm starting a UFO nonprofit tomorrow, and I want $700K in our first year. I'm going to appoint William Pullen to be the head of research and investigation. I'm going to appoint myself Earth's galactic ambassador to the aliens, and we're going to start collecting money. But thanks to all of you supporters for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash.
Cash pretty well tonight. And I will take a moment as well. For those unaware, we read every single super chat and thank everybody that throws some support our way. We read every single PayPal pledge. Instructions to do that are in the description of this video. And we want to take a moment to thank North for kind and generous $50, initials KE for kind and generous $9.22. Thank you for your kindness and generosity. Maria with a kind and generous $25. Oh, I think those were from yesterday, but hey, thanks again. Now we have this is a fun message again about Elena Dannon. A person who does not wish to be named sent me a kind and generous $50 PayPal pledge, and they said, please do more shows on my favorite wackadoo, Elena Dannon. Now she's claiming that her and her boyfriend are saving Earth. Yes. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And we'll put it on the board. Money talks, all right? That's another thing. All you people sending me messages, you want certain shows, send some money with that shit, and then I'll get to it. All right, that's the way we're going to run things from now on. We're going to praise the cash big, right? Things have value, including time. So we'll take more comments and questions from the live chat, not just the super chats. It's not pay to play here, but one way to guarantee that you're going to get addressed. Send some money, bitches. All right, so we're going to get to the comments and the questions. Geez, I was way far behind. Bones says, praise the cash. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Did they bail him out? Jan Harzan's bail alone was $100,000. His team of 4 lawyers certainly ain't cheap either. Oh, they're not paying that out of MUFON money, are they, Steve Long? They can't be. He's got to pay that out of his own personal money. They can't be paying that out of nonprofit money. Oh, but I'm calling MUFON tomorrow, and I'm going to ask them. I'll record the call just for you, Steve Long, and we'll play it tomorrow night. By the way, I'm not done here. MUFON, I'm going to have my hand up your proverbial asshole from now on. And every time there's a 990 and we can go over where all this money is going, I'm going to do it. And I would strongly advise anybody thinking about joining to know that you get nothing. That's my opinion. I've talked to many people. They don't care about UFOs. They care about TV shows and money. That's what they care about. Oh, that's great. UFO Shane says, let's all start the nonprofit. We will call it the Grift Alliance. Yeah, let's do it. You know, I once tried to listen, UFO Shane, this is a funny story. I had, and by the way, thanks for being a member, UFO Shane. Check out his spaces on Twitter. They're great. Unless you're trying to do something and somebody starts talking smack and I got to go in there and yell at people. But otherwise, they're fun. UFO Shane, I had a period of time, and this was a couple of years ago, but it's still funny. Well, actually, it was more than a couple of years ago. It's right after GoFundMe started up and got very popular. And it seemed like everybody on my Facebook list had a GoFundMe for something. It was like, oh, I really want to make this film, and it's always been my lifelong dream. So I just need $150,000 to make this film. Or I had musician friends that are like, I have been planning this opus rock opera, and I've got all the songs, but I need the studio time to record it. I just need $10,000. And somebody else was like, oh, it's always been my dream to visit Europe, but I've never been able to. So they started like a $10,000 GoFundMe. It seemed like all across my Facebook, all these assholes were starting GoFundMes for lifelong dreams. So I actually started a GoFundMe to have a Coke and hookers party. And GoFundMe took it down. You can't do that on GoFundMe. But what a party that would have been. And I was only asking for 10 grand. Good hookers aren't cheap, and neither is good blow. That wouldn't go very far, but it'd be one hell of a night. It'd be a fun night. I tried to start a GoFundMe for it. They took the GoFundMe down. You can't start a GoFundMe for an illegal purpose. I should have worded it better. Great. Bones says bail $100K. That's not bad. David Wilcox can definitely afford that 10%. If you ask me, he should have had to pay a lot more than that. He's dangerous if he's out there trying to have sex with 13-year-old girls on the internet. I wouldn't have let him out. And by the way, if anybody knows what happened to the Jan Harzan case, I'd be interested to know. We'll bring you an update. I don't know right now, but we'll find out. I have a feeling that our new friends over there at that MUFON, there's a new Facebook group, by the way, that I joined where people are just, listen, this is not a good organization. Chris Johansson says, what do you boys think? Is MUFON somehow paying his legal bills? Are they maybe obligated to? Yeah, I don't know. It could be in his contract, right? And that is a great question, and we're going to find out. Moody Mongol, wouldn't it be odd if MUFON's board were predators and those that paid to be researchers were either the same or whose younger family the MUFON board then targeted? Yeah, it's gross. Yeah, exactly. Steve Long says, I'm quite sure Harzan had to pay his own bail and lawyers. Well, I'm calling MUFON tomorrow. They do have some kind of secretary that answers the phone, because I remember when they took that database away, because there was a bunch of UFO sightings right near my house, and I had always used the database before. And call me a leech. I gave him money 1 year. I gave him like just I think like $20 or something. I don't know. And then I went to go use it, and it was gone. And I called, and they said, "Oh, you have to be a member. You can't access it." I'm like, "When did they start that? I've been using it for years." They recently. So where's the public benefit if the public can't access any of the data? Where is the public benefit in this organization that's collecting $700,000 a year? It's absolutely ridiculous. Harzan posted bail on July 14th, 2020. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I remember when I did that to you, Lou Reviews. one of the first things I did when Lou Reviews kind of lost his shit and got all critical, and everybody started calling him a backstabber and a turncoat and a traitor to disclosure. One of the first things I did is somebody made a meme of me and Lou Reviews being hung, and the caption was me saying "first time," and I sent it to him. And now UFO Shane is one of those turncoats now. And by the way, Lou Reviews says, Shane is one of my favorite turncoats. Welcome to the party, pal. I use that meme all the time. When people go like, wow, I started asking questions and I got blocked by all these people. I go, welcome to the party, pal. Yeah. Wow, that's interesting, Steve Long. So he would know how to get out of jail. He used to be a bail bondsman, Velocity Bail Bonds. Well, that's interesting. Is MUFON infiltrated by the CIA? No idea. I think they're infiltrated by some stupid people that don't know how to manage money for sure, right? Nick Rosler, MUFON contributor, says, Stephen Cambion, I spent 2 decades in the criminal justice field, made clear to MUFON's board that Harzan's bail was criminally low, especially considering his net worth. Something there doesn't pass the smell test. The attorney on MUFON's board was blunt about me not knowing what I was talking about. My experience says Harzan's bail should have been 10 times what it was. Well, it could be that he had some friends in the courts. If he was a bail bondsman, he might have been known to the courts. He might have been familiar, so they wanted to cut him a break. And by the way, I've had people that defend what he did to me. Well, he didn't hurt anybody. He was going there to bang what he thought was a 13-year-old girl. If there was a 13-year-old girl there, that girl would have got the R word, right? So don't defend him to me. There is no defense for that, right? And by the way, it sucks that we live in this kind of world, but once in a while, somebody will send me a message like that I don't know on Facebook, right? And especially if it's a girl, looks like a younger girl, screw off, I block them because I don't know you. Why is some young girl talking to me? I don't want even the appearance of anything like that or me talking, you got to be very careful. He used a bail bondsman to bail out. He didn't ever use, so he used a bail bondsman. Okay. So Harzan is literally free and is probably trying to do the exact same thing he was arrested for. Well, we don't know that. That's speculation. So, he could be. Sure. I thought that was a rumor. MUFON won't care about you, Steve. Now, if you mention you have kids, you'll probably get a free trip to the MUFON main offices. Oh, that's gross. That is gross. Yes, the honesty party. I was going to have the honesty party. And by the way, this was years ago. I wasn't really going to do that with the money. I was just trying to make a point to my friends who are all like, it's always been my dream to make this album. It's always been my dream to make this film. It's always been my dream to make this cartoon or this comic book. Like, if you're a creative person, figure it out. I started making albums with like a computer and a microphone. That's all I had. A microphone, a computer, and a little sampler thing that went in the back of an Amiga, right? And I would go through records and like sample drum beats, and like I made an album with nothing. You can too. All these people were pissing me off, begging for money to do their dream, Okay. Yeah, Moody Mongol says gross but true. I don't know which is a rumor. So, I'm trying to take more questions and comment. UFO Shane, he sent that GIF of John McClane. Yeah, I should have sent you that too. Well, yeah, Moody Mongol. Yeah, I don't think the missus would like me going away for the weekend to do that. But we're not going to have that kind of party in the cabin in the woods. Yeah. I thought he was already kind of wealthy, Jan Harzan. And $100,000 means you need a 10% cash equivalent. Like if his bail was $100K, you only need 10, and they'll take that and let you out. At least that's the way it is in the state of Pennsylvania. If your bail is $1,000, you just got to give them 100. I don't know. The only person I've ever bailed out is my brother. That's a long story. And of course, alcohol was involved in that situation. We're half Irish. What are you going to do? Go and bail out a family member is not uncommon where I'm from, right? 50,000 bees. Stephen, is UAPX a nonprofit? Yes, I believe it is, but I've never looked into their financials. We can do that. We might have opened quite a can of worms, right? Yes, GoFundMe is a modern form of panhandling. Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. I just thought, like, come on. I was just tired of seeing so many people with GoFundMes. And then, like, anything that happened to people, like, oh, my mom has cancer, $15,000 GoFundMe. And I guess, yeah, that's a good cause. But geez, like, other people get through it without begging everybody to throw in 15 grand. What are you going to do with the 15 grand, Or like, I get it. Sometimes there's a real and genuine need, Patty. Like if your house burns down and you don't have insurance, I'd give money to somebody. Like there was a family and their house burned down and they didn't have any insurance. And so they were left homeless and they lost everything that they owned. I gave money to that. That's a worthy GoFundMe. But, I want to make a vanity film project that I've always thought about but never been able to figure out. Like, no. No, I'm not giving you money for that. Nick, but I do support creative and artistic people by buying records and albums and things. Nick Rosler, Stephen Cambion, I counted Harzan as a professional contact and friend. We were on Christmas card terms for 20 years. It would not be a misstatement to describe Harzan as loaded. Yeah, he was already rich before MUFON. So isn't that interesting, right? You think he would know better having that much money than to try to talk to 13-year-old girls and try to talk 13-year-old girls into meeting him for sex on the internet. It's despicable. It's always been a lifelong dream of mine to pay off my mortgage. Yeah, let's start a GoFundMe for that, right? There are legitimate causes, agreed. Yeah, and this is not to say, look, I consider myself a creative person, and that's a blessing and a curse. It really is. I like to support other creative, artistic people. In fact, I got a friend that's trying to start making comic books, and I said, let me buy the comic book, the first one you make. And he's like, oh, I'm months out. I'm just getting started. Let me buy it now. Let me be the first person. I'm giving you the money. Whatever you're going to sell it for, I'll give it to you. And I like to support creative, artistic people. But at some point, some people are just like, I don't know if they didn't learn that you got to jump in and do it and find a way to do it. I remember a long time ago, as soon as I saw a digital video on a computer, I went, oh my God, this is awesome. And I was a musician. I thought, I'm going to start making music videos. And I got to tell you, like, all my friends and everybody were like, Stephen, you can't just make a music video with a camera and a computer. And I'm like, hold my beer, bitches. And I learned to make music videos with nothing but a camera and a computer, and some lights or whatever. We got better as we went. And before I knew it, in my studio, which was up until that point only recording music, we start making music videos. I had a blue box, a blue screen. This is kind of before green screen. But anyway, I had a blue box, a whole set that was all painted blue. And I'd bring in all kinds of bands and I'd put them on the set. And then I'd put whatever background they want, $300. And not very much editing or anything, $300. And it was great. And I learned to do that out of just passion and necessity. Too many people today think that they just going to fix a problem with money. No, you have to learn. If you want to learn to make a film, you have to learn the art of film craft. And if you want to learn how to make music videos, I learned trial and error, right? And by the way, we just made what I consider my best music video ever, because it goes from the beginning of an album all the way till the end. It's called A Very Dark Place. Check it out in our video section. Show me some love. Yeah. Yeah, Secret Agent Red Sauce says, Dominator beware. He meant donator beware. Do research before giving. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. And by the way, I don't want to discourage people from contributing to worthy causes. We all see people in our lives that could use some help. And whether they're asking for financial help or not, it's easier if you know they need the help and they're asking for it with a GoFundMe or PayPal donation thing or whatever. Um, I don't want to discourage people, but I think what Secret Agent Red Sauce said is it makes a lot of sense. You have to research an organization, especially large ones. Like, dude, even like the Red Cross, you think they do good things? They sell that blood that you donate to them to the hospitals. And that's a whole racket. You have to be very careful with who you lend your money to. But you know what it is people like to feel good. I know my wife, like, she would rather give money to an organization that helps animals because she thinks people can help themselves, you know? And so that's her preferred, like some animal shelter, no kill shelters, especially she likes, because sometimes there's some old ass beat up dog, and if nobody takes them, you don't just kill them after a few days, so she likes those no kill shelters. Everybody's got to pick what they want to contribute to as far as a charitable donation or a nonprofit that does good things. I don't want to discourage you, but Secret Agent Red Sauce is right. And I shared the wrong one. Buyer beware. Do research on giving, but I'll share that one too. Art is the tasty sauce of life. I agree. Bone says, Steve, I watch you every time you're live. I rarely chat live, but I just wanted to thank you for shining sunlight on the viruses in this community. Well, thank you, Bones, and we appreciate that. Every once in a while I get discouraged, or I don't really, listen, everybody's got their days where they're just not feeling it. And some days I come in here and I go, oh man, it's a slog or whatever. But those good people that keep saying things like that, Bones, that keeps me motivated when I'm when I'm not feeling motivated. You guys motivate me. Patty M. Wilhelm pointing out something very important. Charity Navigator is a good place to check out how nonprofits use donations. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Moody Mongol, you do that, but I'm not going to say that out loud, right? And UFO Shane says UFOs and hoes. Yeah, and we're going to do that. We're going to make a music video. UFO Shane, if you'll do it, if you get yourself a green screen, we'll do it. We'll make a UFO video, a music video called UFOs and hoes. All right? Yeah. Moody thinks, B. Baker thinks Moody's pretty funny. He's planning a special party, right? In the woods. All right, friends. Well, we have done our due diligence, friends, and I will be back though tomorrow night. Let me take a moment to do that. We have a bumper for that. Yeah, next live show is tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Please join us again. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. We appreciate you. Thanks for appreciating us. It means a lot to me that we are getting, and listen, another thing is I just want to say, I'm not trying to like pay my bills or get rich here doing this show. I knew that this show would largely be a volunteer effort, and largely I'm amazed by the support that we do get. And I will say this, all of you supporters really do help me in my life because, for example, I never have to talk to my wife about expenses, right? I just take it out of the till and it's there for us to use. I just bought a little audio recorder because when I was filming outside, the camera was too far away and the audio was crap. I just got a nice digital audio recorder that can go in my pocket and a little lapel mic, and that came out of the till. It's so nice to have some funds and resources available. So I want to make sure that we recognize and thank each and every one of you who's a Patreon supporter, a channel member, a Twitch subscriber, throwing us money on pill.net. I want to thank each and every one of you because it really does help to have those resources available. And I'm using some of those resources in some investigatory work we're doing That's all I'm going to say for now. But, oh, man, it's so good. Talk about hidden camera gotcha moments. We got some good stuff coming up. And it's thanks to the generosity and support of all of you. Mark Toronto reminding everybody, if you like Stephen's work, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Watch one of his videos. Everything helps. Yeah, it really does help. Yeah, it's interesting. Chris Johansson, anyone hear that Burchett is now saying Grush may have duped him? Yeah, you think so? Steve Long says, if able, be sure to support your favorite reliable researchers, archivists, and content providers for their time and effort. Yeah, I agree. I think that, $1 goes a long way if there's thousands of people throwing a buck in. That's why we try to keep our Patreon at $1 because, brother, can you spare $1? And by the way, I always say this, if you don't have the dollar, if you're really having a tough time, just email me and I'll put you on the list and I'll send you the same benefits that the Patreon supporters. I don't like the paywall, but it's a necessary thing. I think he was talking about staffers saying that he was unreliable and people mistook that. Burchett did not say that Grush duped him. He's saying that the staffers did not find Grush to be a reliable witness. So what else can I say, friends? We've done our due diligence. I think that we did some good work tonight, shining a light on the UFO money. And, I said at the beginning of this broadcast, people send me messages all the time saying, oh, they're not here for the money, Stephen. How dare you? How dare I? There's people collecting hundreds of thousands of dollars and not doing what they said they would do with the hundreds of thousands of dollars. TTSA, people collected millions of dollars. Did everybody giving money really want Tom DeLonge to make a shitty movie with that money? No, but that's what he did with it. So don't send me your hate mail, or at least send me better hate mail. That's all I'm asking for is better hate mail. All right? If you're going to be, nasty to me, don't be nasty to me because I say that these people are all profit driven. We can show you how much money is being generated here. Send me better hate mail. I'm really disappointed in you clowns. You got to try harder, right? You got to try much harder. And I got to say that I guess that with time, your skin thickens because these things used to bother me. And now I just laugh at stupid people every time I open my email. So thanks for making me laugh right when I get up in the morning. That's when I check the emails for the show, right when I get up. Every morning, there's some stupid person arguing with me. Or one of my favorites is like, somebody sent me a message saying, you don't know what you're talking about, Stephen. Linda Moulton Howe is a serious investigative journalist. Okay, dummy. You believe what you will. So what else can I say, friends? That's all I got for you. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.
Truth Seekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truth Seekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Truth Seekers is a viewer-supported show. Now there's a great way to support these broadcasts and show your support. Please be sure and check out our merchandise store. Links to our 2 merchandise online stores are in the links to this video or podcast. The Amazon storefront ships super quickly in the United States, Great Britain, and in many more places. Amazon may not ship to your country or location. If that's the case, hit our second merchandise link in the description and visit our Redbubble storefront. Merchandise from our Redbubble storefront ships worldwide, but may take longer than Amazon. We've got a great deal of super high quality merchandise for you to choose from, including t-shirts, phone cases, sweatshirts, and even pillows. The feedback from our products have been overwhelmingly great. Quality products and fast shipping. People all over the world are buying some merchandise and showing their support of the show. Praise the cash. Praise the cash. Praise the cash. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors who are buying some merchandise and helping us to continue this journey. Thanks for being here. This is Truth Seekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truth Seekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truth Seekers. Truth Seekers. Truth Seekers.
Now, goddamn it, Bobby. I don't care what Chris Mellon said on Fox News. You're not giving money to that blank 182 fella.
But Dad, they promised to build a spaceship.
No one's building a spaceship, Bobby.
But the Daily Mail reported that.
Those people are all insane.